Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today, but man, first off, thank you for tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast. You know, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you like, dislike, agree with, disagree with, want to outsmart me, give us a call at 219-413-9405 and leave your quick take. We will air it back on the show today. Now, the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat, they played game 2 the other night. I took a poll on our social medias before this game. I asked who was going to win game 2. Now, 71% of y'all said Denver Nuggets was going to win. 29% said the Miami Heat was going to win. And look what happened. The Miami Heat ended up winning this ball game 111-108. Now, there was one last opportunity at the end of the game. I thought Denver was actually going to capitalize on it. Mike Malone could have called the timeout and set up a three-point opportunity for Jamal Murray, but that wasn't the way that it went. Jamal Murray ended up shooting a three. He was short. He missed the shot. Denver ends up losing, but I'm not upset at the shot that he took. A lot of people were kind of talking about it was a bad shot. Malone should have definitely called the timeout. But even if you give Eric Spoelstra a chance to set up that Miami Heat defense, it's no telling you'll get a better look than what Jamal Murray got, because it wasn't a bad shot, truth be told. So that's the first thing. And then, as I've mentioned before, man, the Miami Heat deserve every bit of respect that they've been fighting for and that they've earned. Because when we watched them play like they did last night, that is the best version of the Miami Heat team. That is top tier Miami Heat basketball that we watched, man. Amazing starts to the game, amazing start to the second half, and then it was a great finish in the fourth quarter. I mean, starting the game, the Heat went on a 10-2 run to begin the game. They was whacking Denver. You had Max Strus making his threes throughout the game. He came out hot. They played great defense. It was a 10-2 run in that first quarter with the Miami Heat. But it gets even better because the second half, the start of the third quarter, Heat went on to score 11 points in 2 minutes, still played great defense. And in the fourth quarter, they outscored the Denver Nuggets 36-25 in the fourth quarter. But man, the reason why I say the play was so much better is because 69% shooting in the fourth quarter alone. They shot 55% from the three-point line in the fourth quarter alone. They were knocking things down on all cylinders. You had 3 people on that team with 20-plus points. Bam, Jimmy, and Gabe Vincent all kind of went off through the game. 48% from the game from the three-point line, knocking down shots. They played physical defense. They made their shots, and they were able to get to the free throw line. So what more can you ask for this Miami Heat team in terms of watching good basketball and watching a complete basketball team? Not just the star, not just a one-dimensional guy or a guy who's doing everything on his own. I'm saying a complete basketball team. What more can you ask for? It was a great performance from the Miami Heat. And I also want to give a special shout out to Bam Adebayo and Kevin Love. That was a mix-up I seen from head coach Eric Spoelstra as well. Bam played great. A lot of time I feel like Bam doesn't get the credit because he's not given the flashy numbers or high totals, but he's probably the one with the toughest task this entire finals. He's guarding Jokic on one end, and then he still has to be somewhat aggressive on the offensive end. We've seen him capitalize on the offensive end. He had some good shots. He got to the line a few times. He made a lot of mid-range jumpers, set his teammates up as well. Was aggressive when it was necessary. And then for Kevin Love, he helped Bam Adebayo out a lot on the boards, grabbing 10 of them and pretty much protecting the paint as well on the defensive end, spreading the floor on the offensive end. So it was a lot of things that Kevin Love did in the game too that don't show up on the stat sheet, but was very, very impactful in the game. So kudos to both of those guys, man. They definitely, deserve this win. Miami Heat, they came out, bullied the Denver Nuggets, and they earned this win. Truth be told, that's all it was. Because Denver has to clean up a couple things. I'm going to say this, and then we'll jump to the voicemail as well, because we got a couple voicemails in here. But Denver, they got to clean up on a couple things. The defensive effort and intensity was definitely lacking through the night. I seen that. They got to force Miami off the three-point line. From something that I noticed. In game 1, they kind of got away with it because Miami couldn't make a lot of their threes. You had Max Strus shooting 0 for 9 from the three-point line, which was probably not going to happen again. But because of that, a lot of people looked at it as Denver is going to easily beat this team, when in reality, Miami just played a bad game. They just weren't making their shots in game 1. In the game 2, clearly they were making a lot of their shots, and that defensive effort was exposed by the Denver Nuggets. They wasn't there. They wasn't in people's faces. They wasn't closing out as intense as they usually were in different games of this playoffs. And then on the offensive end, you have to knock down shots. Michael Porter Jr., who's a three-point shooter for the Denver Nuggets, exceptional three-point shooter, was 0 for 6 in the fourth quarter. In the second half, correction. Michael Porter Jr. was 0 for 6 in the second half from three-point attempts, 1 for 8 in the entire second half from shooting the ball. Jamal Murray also had a bad shooting night in that second half, 0 for 4 in three-point attempts, 3 for 10 in that whole second half, only had 2 points in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't have played his ass the whole fourth quarter either, honestly, if he was shooting that bad throughout the second half. So I understand, but those are some of the things they're going to have to do better. And a lot of it comes with playing good on the defensive end and that translating over to the offensive end. Just because you don't see a shot go down on the offensive end from 3, that doesn't mean you don't have to play defense. You still got to play defense on the other end of the ball. So that's my thoughts on there. Let's hear what you guys were talking about, because I know a couple of you guys left some voicemails about this Miami Heat game and the Denver Nuggets of game 2. So let's hear it, man. Here's the voicemail call. Let's do it right now. I think I got to play it one more time.
Miami Heat. My name is Juwan Griffin. I am sorry.
He's apologizing to the Heat. Juwan, we need more like you, man. Juwan, we need more like you. We need more like you. I appreciate it, and I understand it now. So on the polls of the Instagram, he voted that the Denver Nuggets were going to sweep the Miami Heat. Clearly, that didn't happen because Heat won one of the games. And I told y'all, Heat is not getting swept. You got to give these guys the respect. They play great basketball. So that apology, I'm not a Miami Heat fan, but if you're a Miami Heat fan, listen to this, you should accept that apology. Man, I've been trying to tell y'all, too, that the Heat deserves a lot more respect for what they get. They play great basketball, and just because they aren't star dominant, they don't get that respect that they should deserve and that they do deserve, honestly. So kudos to you for apologizing, man, enough, but I respect it. All right, we got one more. Let's do it.
What's up, man? It's your boy Boots with another take, man, on this
What's
game.
the deal?
The Heat, I said the Heat, oh my goodness. The Heat had fought real hard, you know what I'm saying, in the second half, overcame a lot of obstacles. My biggest take is Jamal Murray wasn't really playing up to his level of play, I want to say.
That's facts.
And I want to say that played a huge factor on the Heat comeback, but if Jamal Murray was hitting, it's a bit bad news for them boys. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably gonna be Denver in 6, Denver in 5, but Denver's winning this series because how often is Jamal Murray gonna go cold like that?
That's true.
Another great adjustment I've seen the Heat do. They put Kevin Love in, which allowed Jimmy to guard Jamal. I think that's what slowed them down a lot. So they continue to do that. I think the Heat will have a great chance of pushing this series a little more. But in reality, in my opinion, I still think it's in 5 or 6.
I agree with a lot that you said, and I've been trying to tell y'all forever since the series started that Denver Nuggets was going to win in 6. I think Denver Nuggets is the more talented team, but Miami is very aggressive. They play very intense. They play with a lot of aggression and a lot of force, as Eric Spoelstra says, when they play against any team in the playoffs. And to me, for that reason, that's why it's going to go to 6 games. I don't think Miami, they definitely have a shot to win, but I think Denver plays with a lot of the similar aggression and a lot of the similar intensity, and they also have more talent on that team. That's why I say Denver is going to win. But very true. That was some great insights there, Boots, a lot about the Kevin Love thing, and then allowing Jimmy Butler to guard Jamal Murray as well. But 100% agree that Jamal Murray has to step up. Last night, it was just only Nikola Jokic going off. And throughout the second half, I think Jokic had 17 points in that third quarter alone. But he was really carrying that offense alone by himself. And they got to help him out between Michael Porter Jr., Caldwell Pope, even Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray. Somebody has to help Nikola Jokic out, especially when they're going on a scoring run like that, going bucket for bucket with the Miami Heat like that. And then obviously Jokic goes to the fourth quarter, still plays a great game, but just needs a little bit more help to be able to get over the hump and actually pull that game out. But here's something, and another reason that kind of adds to that Denver Nuggets in 6 as well, because Jamal Murray probably will not have another bad night like you mentioned. But also too, when him and Jokic are clicking together, they're that much more difficult to beat, even if they make mistakes throughout the game, like we've seen in game 2, even if it is an absurd amount of turnovers and more turnovers like they had in game 2, because there was multiple points in the game where they were flipping the ball, missing open shots, stuff like that. So when you have both of those guys, your two premier scorers on your offense, scoring the ball equally, it is going to take a lot of pressure off the road guys. They won't have to be asked to give you 15 points or anything like that. They'll be okay with just making a couple threes. But long story short, I 100% agree with you, man. Look, we got some news coming up. And of course, man, if you want to hear your take heard, you want to share something about the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat, or else any other thing that's going on in the sports world, go ahead, give us a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back here on the episode and we'll recap it. But until then, we got some news coming up, man. We'll go ahead, touch on a couple different things, and then we got my Detroit Pistons. We are going to be elite again. I don't care what nobody say. The league is better when the Pistons are good. Let's just face it. All right, but look, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. I'll explain in just a second.